Good afternoon. Early days in a new football season, but every point is precious and there's plenty of time for scorelines to change in all today's matches. Gary Pallister, former Premier League referee Paul Durkin and Garth Crooks are watching 6 Barclays Premier League games that are underway. We'll hear their opinions on how all the various teams are performing after we're right up to date with the latest scores. At Anfield, it's Liverpool versus Middlesbrough. Both teams kicked off with a win last Saturday. Ivan Gaskell reporting.
And with 20 minutes to go, we could have something of a surprise on the cards here. Liverpool 0, Middlesbrough 1. Middlesbrough have just taken the lead. Mido came off the bench after an hour, and within 10 minutes, he'd put Middlesbrough in the lead. A stinging low drive into the corner, fully celebrated by all those from Borough, and that includes the man himself, who really enjoyed the moment. 32 years since Borough have won here. Well, they're on the verge of it now. It's Liverpool 0, Middlesbrough 1.
Let's go to White Hart Lane. Tottenham are playing Sunderland. Defeat for both clubs last Saturday. David Garrido reporting.
Spurs have just drawn level. It's 1-1 against Sunderland. Jermaine Genius stealing into the box after Luka Modric had himself evaded a couple of Sunderland defenders. It was a typical fleet of foot. Fired a shot, Craig Gordon parried, Jermaine Genius mopped up to score for Spurs. The earlier goal from Kieran Richardson, a rasping right foot strike to put Sunderland ahead and in with the hope of their first win at White Hart Lane for 30 years. But right now, that ain't happening. It's Spurs 1, Sunderland 1.
Goals in all the leagues and all the divisions. 1 point from 6 promoted Nottingham Forest. They're playing Watford, who kicked off with a win and a draw in the Championship. Alan Biggs reporting.
Oh, it's a really excellent game this, Ray. Nottingham Forest 3, Watford 2. Substitute Nathan Tyson having restored Forest lead a few minutes after coming on from a free kick from Rob Earnshaw, which hit the post. Tyson was on the spot to put home the rebound. The tone set for a terrific game by a great early goal from Lee Martin, first for Forest, as was Rob Earnshaw's when he restored their lead at 2-1, both fashioned by Guy Moussi, new midfielder. But in between, Tommy Smith twice levelling in excellent style for Watford. It's now Nottingham Forest 3, Watford 2.
After drawing at Old Trafford, Newcastle went into their first home game of the season full of optimism. They're playing Bolton. Damien Johnson is at St James's Park. Who's going to grab the headlines?
Well, it's that man, Michael Owen. He's just put Newcastle ahead after coming on off the bench in this second half, a replacement for Obafemi Martins. He missed that victory or that draw at Old Trafford last weekend for a combination of illness and injury. But he's come off the bench, the ball was played into the area, it was trademark Owen really. He ghosted in between defenders, a header past Jaskalainen, and Newcastle lead 1-0.
Are you watching Fabio, some might say? Opening day wins for Blackburn and Hull last Saturday. Richard Askham is watching today's game at Ewood Park. First home Premier League match for Paul Ince as Blackburn manager.
1-1 Ray. Blackburn are carrying the greater threat. Santa Cruz and Roberts, a muscular nuisance up front. Hull have had to make last-ditch challenges to deny them both. This after the sides had gone in level at the break. Jason Roberts' opener for the home side cancelled out by a Richard Garcia header. But Hull, cheered on by 6,000 travelling fans, have scrapped and battled and for the most part have held their own.
Footy Printer confirming Michael Owen comes off the bench and gives Newcastle the lead at home to Bolton. Last time Stoke City played at home in the top flight, it was at the old Victoria Ground in 1985. Their fans are out in force for this afternoon's match with Aston Villa at the Britannia Stadium. Andrew James reporting.
Yes, Ray, 27,500 the crowd here, and they've seen a great performance from Stoke. They went ahead in the first half, a penalty which Villa didn't think should have been awarded. Most people felt was perhaps fair. Liam Lawrence converting after Delap had gone down. But then Villa, against the run of play, only some 10 minutes ago, they got an equaliser. Great piece of work by Ashley Young. Back-heeled the ball into the path of John Carew, and he slipped it under Thomas Sorensen, the former Villa goalkeeper. It's been lucky for Villa. Stoke is still very much in the game. It's Stoke 1, Villa 1.
Hearts taking the lead at home to St Mirren with 15 minutes to go. To the Championship, 1 point from 6 for Blackpool, 1-1, lost 1 for Sheffield United. Tony Colliver reporting.
Yes, it's a well-organised Sheffield United side, not giving much away and deserve their advantage. They were slightly perhaps fortunate to lead at the break through a Stephen Quinn strike, but in the second half they've been impressive and doubled their lead when Gary Speed penalty after Hugo Ekiog was fouled in the box. But Steve Cabba has just literally pulled one back for the home side to make things very interesting. Blackpool 1, Sheffield United 2.
Plenty of time for scorelines to change. No disgrace for promoted West Bromwich Albion to lose at Arsenal last Saturday. Everton lost at home to Blackburn. Mark Bishop is watching this afternoon's game at the Hawthorns.
It's West Bromwich Albion 0, Everton 1. West Bromwich Albion's first home league game back in their return to the top flight isn't going according to plan. They dominated large chunks of this game, but Leon Osman, Everton's brightest player on the pitch, rifled home after a clever pass from Arteta, and this just seconds after Rodwell's header beat Carson, but was disallowed by referee Rob Stiles, judging that Rodwell had fouled Robinson. Home side full of endeavour, Miller, Rovens and Kim all going close. Zuvaluma's impressed on his debut for the home side, but it's Everton who lead by 1-0.
Fulham Arsenal's a 5:30 kickoff tomorrow. Manchester City versus West Ham, Wigan versus Chelsea, Manchester United away at Portsmouth on Monday. Garth, Michael Owen off the bench, scores perhaps the winning goal for Newcastle. A reminder for Fabio Capello, and also his contract talks around at the moment as well.
Well, I think Newcastle are well aware of the goals that Michael Owen is capable of scoring. But I think the interesting point in this game is Bolton have left Newcastle off the hook. They had a penalty, the captain stood up and came up and took it. Great save by Shea Gibbon. Another great performance, by the way. It looks at the moment that Newcastle might nick the 3 points.
Excuse me, Garth. Let's go to the Hawthorns. Mark Bishop watching West Bromwich Albion against Everton.
About to worst, Ray, for Tony Mowbray's side. West Bromwich Albion 0, Everton 2. A ridiculously long ball hit and hope by Lescott deep in his own half. Terrific play, though, from Yakubu. He outmuscled the centre-half, lobbing Carson. It was an easy goal, a sloppy one, though, for West Bromwich Albion to give away. They're trailing by 2-0.
Vidi Printer confirming Cardiff 2, Norwich 1. Cardiff leave their Ninian Park home at the end of the season. Will they leave the Championship for the Premier League at the same time? Gareth Williams reporting.
It's Cardiff City 2, Norwich City 1. Well, it's certainly been Ross McCormack's day. Cardiff's new striker put the Bluebirds ahead in the opening minutes when he drove the ball low and wide of David Marshall. Jimmy Curran then missed the first half penalty for the Canaries after Matty Patterson was brought down. Cardiff's second goal came from the spot. Ross McCormack was fouled in the box. He then took the penalty and placed the ball past Marshall. But substitute Acholo Poli has received the ball for the Canaries and he slotted it past Heaton. The Canaries back in this one, right? Cardiff City 2, Norwich City 1.
To Hillsborough, let's hear about Preston's equaliser from Steve Sutton.
Yes, Ray, it's come on 77 minutes and it has been threatening for the last 5 or 10 minutes or so. It was a good cross from the right by Sedgwick. Chaplow was at the far post. Open goal, side foot into the back of the net. It's Wednesday 1, Preston North End 1.
Preston kicking off with a 100% record. Paul, opportune you're here watching this afternoon's matches, because I'm keen to know how you feel the Respect campaign is developing.
Well, the management team were very, very happy with the way things went last week and obviously hoping for it to continue this week. The programme that's been the initiative of the FA is to get the captains more involved with the referees, trying to prevent possible conflict on the pitch, reduce the number of cautions and everything. But generally to stop the snarling and the dissent that's visibly open to some decisions by the players and managers and coaches.
Was the research that the relationship and this snarling and lack of respect was having a serious negative impact at grassroots level?
Yeah, very much so, because of the, it's 24/7 football now. It's on day in, day out, and week in, week out, and the incidents that are happening on the pitch transfer down to the younger players who go out on a Sunday, see the things going on and think they can get away with it as well.
And from what you've seen on the Premier League matches this afternoon, is it working? Have you seen more respect from what you've seen looking at the games?
Yeah, this isn't a one-way street with just the players. I mean, the referees have got to start communicating more with the players and trying to do a bit of preventing, and on that respect, both parties have got to come together and try and work this out.
One of the good ones, by the way, for that sort of thing.
Wolves 2 up away at Portman Road. Gary, I'm just keen to know what's jumped off the screen for you so far this afternoon.
There's a few things. I mean, Middlesbrough doing ever so well at
That's going to be the shock result of the day.
It is, but I mean, this is down to Gareth and his new philosophy, I think. He's went with youth, he's looking at more energy into his side, and I think you can see that today, that they're not intimidated by going to Anfield, and they're giving a really good account of themselves. The other one that's sticking out is Tottenham. Tottenham are struggling. They've lost Berbatov by the looks of it. They've lost Robbie Keane. They're looking a bit devoid. The only time they've really threatened today is from delivery into the box from David Bentley, and they're struggling as well.
Middlesbrough still 1 up at Anfield. What an away win it would be for Gareth Southgate's Middlesbrough if the score stays the same. Still time for goals to change the results. News from the SPL now. Aberdeen Rangers, a lunchtime kickoff. Andy Gillis watched the match.
Meetings of these two sides at Pittodrie are always competitive, if not necessarily pretty, and this was no exception. Rangers dropped their first points of the season despite taking the lead and having the bulk of possession. David Weir was their goal scorer. Unmarked at Kevin Thompson's free kick, he planted a header past Jamie Langfield. But on the stroke of half-time, Derek Young levelled after McGregor fisted out Miller's header. The second half was less than outstanding, although both sides could have scored in injury time. Beasley's effort was ruled offside. Aberdeen will be happiest with the draw.
Scored, Miller.
Scored as well.
Fuller.
Let's immediately go to White Hart Lane developments. David Garrido.
It's now Spurs 1, Sunderland 2, and what a goal on debut from Senegal's Cissé, heading down from across on the left-hand side. It was a good ball in from Daryl Murphy, and there he was, Djibril Cissé, rising high, powering the header down. He's just only come on as a sub. It's Spurs 1, Sunderland 2.
Great signing by Roy Keane, it would appear. Sunderland 2-1 up at Spurs. Goal at the Britannia Stadium, Andrew James.
Oh, Ray, and what a goal it is for Stoke City. It's Stoke City 2, Aston Villa 1, and Ricardo Fuller, who got a late goal up at Bolton last week, just a consolation then, but how important could this be in Stoke City's season? Villa had begun to take control of the game. They were looking the more likely scorers of a winning goal, but Stoke broke away down the right-hand side, and Brad Friedel, who's looked a little uncomfortable today, was beaten by a ball that went across him into the Booth end goal. It's Stoke City 2, Villa 1.
Well, first top-flight game for Stoke at home since 1985, and I'm just wondering whether there's a tear in one eye of emotion for Stoke and a tear in the other eye because Spurs are getting beaten at home. You've got a win-lose situation.
Well, first and foremost, the Tottenham latest score is not a surprise to me because throughout this game, Sunderland have deserved their goals and deserved the latest result of the scoreline. Richardson's been outstanding, Reed's been prompting, and Cissé, when he came on, was always going to be a threat. It's a fantastic cross into the box, and it's well dispatched by Cissé. As far as Stoke are concerned, it was so important they got something out of this game. You start off in this league struggling for points with nothing on the board for 2 or 3 games, you lose ground, you go out of business. So 3 points will be absolutely fantastic for the Potters.
Some sensational scorelines this afternoon, but still time before final whistles are heard for things to change. The Ninian Park, Gareth Williams, Cardiff Norwich.
Full credit to Glenn Roeder. His substitute has certainly changed for the Canaries, right? It's Cardiff City 2, Norwich City 2, and its substitute Arturo Lipoli, who's got the crucial second goal for Norwich. It's all square. Cardiff City 2, Norwich City 2.
That could be a good fight back for Norwich City. 8th place finish for Oldham last season. 7th in a player finished the season before. They kicked off this campaign with 2 wins out of 2 going into a home game with Cheltenham. Ben Jacobs is at Boundary Park.
Oldham 4, Cheltenham 0. Danny Whittaker's wrapped this one up with a perfect hat-trick earlier. The first a low left-foot finish, the second a right-footed tap-in, the third an easy header. He may have lost his hair, but certainly not his touch. Hughes hadn't scored before today. Now he's joint top scorer. 3 wins out of 3 for Oldham, and they will go top of League One. Oldham 4, Cheltenham 0.
Let's go to Celtic Park. Brian McLaughlin, Celtic Falkirk.
3, Falkirk 0, McManus and Samaras had the champions 2-0 up at half-time. Number 3 coming midway through the second half. Sean Maloney played the ball through to Samaras, the striker slipping the ball underneath the body of the advancing keeper for his second and Celtic's third of the afternoon. 7 minutes left for play. Celtic 3, Falkirk 0.
Developments, the Britannia Stadium, Stoke against Aston Villa. Andrew James.
Value for money here, Ray, for the 27,500 fans. It's Stoke 2, Villa 2, and the Villa captain, Martin Larsson, arriving at the into the box just as Villa put a set play in there, and he's put the ball under Sorensen, who won't have enjoyed meeting up with Martin O'Neill once again. It's Stoke City 2, Aston Villa 2, and still more goals in this game.
Gary Pallister, I think both sides seem to be showing great spirit here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're just disappointed, Tony Pulis, looking at him there. You know, they've got their noses in front. They're looking for that much-needed win. And, you know, they've defended the box really well. They've been out of the box. They've not been given room in there.
In the first half.
In the first half, especially. When he looks back at this, they're defending so deep in the box when it comes. It's unfortunate it ricochets to Larsson, but it's because they're defending so deep that he's not offside.
But perhaps not the foregone conclusion that Stoke City are automatically going to be relegated. Let's go to Anfield immediately. Liverpool playing Middlesbrough. Ivan Gaskell reporting.
Yes, 5 minutes or just over to go, and Liverpool are level here. Now, Jamie Carragher struck a shot, but I have to say it took a huge deflection en route. It might be just about what Liverpool deserve, though they've misfired a little bit today. It took a deflection off at least one, maybe two Middlesbrough players on its way in, but it's Liverpool 1, Middlesbrough 1.
A huge sigh of relief for Liverpool fans, Paul.
Yeah, they've been on top there. I mean, Middlesbrough scored a terrific goal. I mean, it's a game you would expect Liverpool to win, but they've struggled a bit, and they've had a huge slice of luck there with that deflection.
Liverpool 1, Middlesbrough 1. Borough took the lead. Liverpool equalising late in the game. Kilmarnock against Hamilton in the SPL, Ian Turner.
Well, just 1 minute left. Hamilton's David Graham just sent off 10 minutes ago a rash tackle on Manuel Pascali, the man who gave Kilmarnock the lead on the stroke of half-time with a back post header. Kilmarnock look as if they're going to be the side going joint top of the SPL tonight. Kilmarnock 1, Hamilton Accies 0.
Let's hear some news from the championship games that are being played this afternoon. Coventry kicked off with a 100% record. Bristol City unbeaten. Steve Lee.
Coventry 0, Bristol City 2. Coventry's August sprint halted comprehensively by Bristol City, who haven't lost to them for nearly 30 years. Goals from former Coventry striker Dele Adebola and from Michael Mackinder in the second half. And the Coventry manager Chris Coleman watching from the stands after a penalty decision was turned down by referee Phil Dowd and he was red carded. Coleman not best pleased by the Bristol opener, which saw keeper Kieran Westwood injured and substituted, Adebola poking the ball home. Frustration all round for the home fans. It's 0-2.
It's going to be 6 points out of 9 for League Two champions MK Dons. Looks like they're going to win away at Huddersfield, and this is going to be 2 points from 9 for Huddersfield. Confirmation of Liverpool's equaliser being given as an Emmanuel Pogatet's own goal with 4 minutes to go. Jamie Carragher hitting the shot. Full-time whistle starting to sound in Scotland. Albion 2, Berwick 0. Albion were the only team in Scottish League football without a point before today's games, so they're off the mark. Albion 2, Berwick 0. Histon 3, Burton Albion 3 in the Blue Square Premier. Quite a game there. John McGrath with the equaliser for Albion 5 minutes from time. To Hillsborough, Sheffield Wednesday against Preston, a Preston side that kicked off with a 100% record. Steve Sutton.
Yes, Ray, it's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Preston North End 1. Wednesday taking the lead in the first half through Sean McAllister. Not until the 77th minute before Preston drew level. Richard Chaplow with an easy conversion at the far post after a cross across the face of the Wednesday goal. There's a few minutes left and it's 1-1.
Looks like Preston's 100% record might come to an end. They might drop points. Birmingham are going to be played 3-1-3. Harry Gratian.
True, they lead at 2-0 and they could have extended that in the last few minutes. McFadden with 2 efforts, 1 brilliantly saved by Steele, and McSheffrey was close. But at the start of the second half, I have to say, Brian Howard squandered 2, possibly 3 great chances. It's 2-0 to Birmingham.
Good afternoon for Bristol Rovers, isn't it? 6-0 up at home to Hereford. Hereford still looking for their first point, having been promoted from League 2 into League 1. Andy Barwell's watching Ipswich against Wolves at Portman Road.
And it's a good afternoon for Wolves. They lead 2-0. David Edwards after a fumble from the Ipswich keeper Richard Wright, adding to a first half goal from Sylvan Ebanks-Blake. Ipswich down to 10 men now. Alex Bruce red carded for a studs high challenge. Ipswich 0, Wolves 2.
Let's immediately go back to the Hawthorns. Mark Bishop, developments in the West Bromwich Albion-Everton match.
Yes, Ray, West Bromwich Albion have a penalty. They trail by 2-0, but the ball adjudged to have struck, I think it was Baines' hand, although people are saying it was Phil Neville, but Bednar's going to step up and take this penalty. Bednar has just come off the bench a few minutes ago, missed a glaring opportunity, but now he's got a chance to make amends with time running out. Bednar now steps up, 1, 2, 3 steps, and it's into the back of the net. Bednar scores from the penalty spot. For a minute of normal play plus stoppage time, West Bromwich Albion 1, Everton 2.
The West Bromwich Albion players sprinting with the ball back to the centre circle to get the game underway to see if they can snatch a point. Kilmarnock-Hamilton in the SPL. Ian Turner.
It's all over. Kilmarnock 1, Hamilton 0. Another clean sheet for Kilmarnock. That's 3 out of 3. Another 3 points to take them joint top of the SPL. They were worthy winners. Manuel Pascali scoring the only goal of the game in the stroke of half-time with a back post header. Accies David Graham sent off with time running out for a rash challenge on Pascali. And Hamilton get their first taste of SPL defeat. Kelly 1, Accies 0.
Bromwich Albion 1, Everton 2. The video printer confirming still time for scorelines to change. Paul, we haven't mentioned a young 25-year-old Stuart Atwell, referee at Blackburn Hull this afternoon. A young referee making his debut. Is he getting the respect that he deserves, and is he performing to the standard which I know you think very highly of him?
Yeah, he's thought very highly of in the game, and he's been given the opportunity. He's come up through the ranks very quickly, but has shown an awful lot of promise. And I have to say, watching him this afternoon, he doesn't look out of place.
Are people going to be more young people going to be encouraged to become referees? Because I always feel this is a great failure with your association, that they've got to be almost touching retirement before they get a chance to get into the big time.
You know, this is another aspect of the respect campaign. You know, it's the FA's hope that they're going to recruit 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 referees over the next few years. And a lot of them, we want younger referees. It's a great opportunity for them.
Gary, are Middlesbrough going to hang on here?
Yeah, I mean, Middlesbrough should have just taken the lead, actually. Ali Adier got through and pulled the ball back for Meadow. It took a bit of a ball, didn't get to Meadow quick enough, and if he'd have got there, I'm sure it would have been 2-1 up. So they've given a great account of themselves today. Liverpool, for all, Robbie Keane and Torres have looked good in parts, have really struggled to create a lot of chances, and, you know, if they do get a draw, I think it'll be a fair result.
Michael Owen scored Newcastle's goal that could make the difference in the match at St James's Park at home to Bolton. Michael Owen off the bench. Has he scored Newcastle's winner? We will see. Queen's Park Rangers against Doncaster in the Championship. Tony Lockwood.
Rangers 2, Doncaster 0. Doncaster paying a heavy price for 2 defensive lapses. Dexter Blackstock forcing home Rangers opener from 3 yards out. Only 5 minutes played, and they're allowed to add to that single goal lead. Emmanuel Ledesma on the end of a quickly taken free kick. Doncaster football pleasing on the eye. No end result. We're into time added on at Loftus Road. Rangers on the way to a home victory. They lead 2-0.
Final whistles going in Scotland, starting to pour in. Inverness 1, Hibs 1. Cracking game at the City Ground this afternoon, Alan Biggs.
Absolutely, and it's still going, Ray. We've yet to actually get to 90 minutes here. Nottingham Forest 3, Watford 2. Andy Cole is on as substitute for his Forest debut, but another substitute, Nathan Tyson, may prove the match winner for them, scoring within minutes of coming on, and Forest seemingly heading for their first win back in the Championship. But remember, Watford have levelled twice in this through Tommy Smith, so he continues to enjoy the entertainment. It's Forest 3, Watford 2.
Depressing start to the season for Tottenham Hotspur. Lost last Saturday, lost at home this afternoon to Sunderland. David Garrido reporting.
Yes, it's finished Spurs 1, Sunderland 2. The Wearsiders' first victory here at the Lane since 1978, would you believe? And for that, they have Djibril Cissé to thank. Wearing yellow boots to match his short bleached hair, the Frenchman came on as a sub and rose majestically to head home a perfect cross from Daryl Murphy from the left. That, after a belting strike from Kieran Richardson, had been cancelled out by Jermaine Jenas. Tottenham did have plenty of chances to win this game through Bentley, Bale and Bent, among others. Sunderland didn't have as many. The difference is they took theirs. Spurs 1, Sunderland 2.
Dimitar Berbatov not involved. Wanda Ramos putting a statement on the website saying he wasn't in the right frame of mind. Spurs season again seems to be in disarray. To Ninian Park, Gareth Williams, Cardiff, Norwich.
It's finished Cardiff City 2, Norwich City 2. 2 Ross McCormack goals, his second and third of the season, gave Cardiff a comfortable lead. But Norwich substitute Arturo Lipoli changed all that when his 2 late goals left Bluebird fans frustrated and wondered how costly these 2 drop points will be later in the season. Full credit to Glenn Roeder's side for not giving up. They deserve their point. It's finished Cardiff City 2, Norwich City 2.
Great fight back by Norwich. Southampton off the mark. Derby have lost again. 35 now without a win. When a pool duel, when a Derby going to get a victory? Hearts 2, St Mirren 1, Scunthorpe 1, Peterborough 0. Eastborough 0, Cambridge United 3. Cambridge United started the season really well. And Stockport have a late winner, it appears, from Tommy Rowe away at Hartlepool. Gillingham have won away at Darlington. To Celtic Park, Brian McLaughlin, Celtic playing Falkirk.
Celtic 3, Falkirk 0. Gordon Strachan's side back to winning ways after dropping 2 points last week at Tannadice. A bit of fortune though about Celtic's opener from Stephen McManus. TV pictures show the ball appearing to hit the arm of the Hoops captain, but the goal was allowed to stand. No doubts though about goals 2 and 3. Sean Maloney the provider on both occasions for Georgios Samaras to dispatch the ball into the back of the net and send champions Celtic back to the top of the SPL table. At Parkhead it finished Celtic 3, Falkirk 0.
Let's sprint to Anfield because there's been a goal. Liverpool against Middlesbrough. Ivan Gaskell.
Late drama, and how many times has he done it? Steven Gerrard, the darling of Merseyside, well, certainly the red half, has rescued Liverpool a 3rd point when one was all they appeared to deserve and to be getting. A fabulous strike from a corner of the penalty area, 4 minutes into added time. He's done it again. Liverpool 2, Middlesbrough 1.
And drama on drama to the Britannia Stadium. Stoke against Aston Villa. Andrew James.
Ray, the substitute for Stoke City, Mamadi Sidibe, has got the goal that has won it for Stoke City. Mark Halsey blows the final whistle. Martin O'Neill was desperately urging his players to get back and defend as Rory Delap wound up for one last long throw-in into the box. It was a route one throw from Delap, headed on by Sidibe beyond Friedel, and Stoke City have got what they deserve from this game. 3 goals and 3 points. Aston Villa were disappointing, and the final score is Stoke 3, Aston Villa 2.
Well played, Tony Pulis. Well played, Stoke City. First home game in the top flight since 1985. What spirit Stoke showed this afternoon to beat a good side than Aston Villa, Garth?
They weren't good today.
No.
They weren't good today. But Stoke...
They're a good side generally, though.
But they weren't good today, that's the point. And that because they weren't... I mean, Ashley Young, Carew, who scored the goal, Agbon Lahore were on is a disappearing act.
You're taking it away from Stoke City.
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not, because I haven't finished my point. You can't fault Stoke's effort. A tremendous effort. And to be fair to Pulis, he took off Kitson and Fuller, who scored a goal, by the way, and brought on Sidibe and another striker, which was brave, to be fair to him, and it's paid off for him.
Vastly different resources. Stoke City have the win this afternoon at home to Aston Villa. To the Hawthorns, Mark Bishop, West Bromwich Albion against Everton.
West Bromwich Albion 1, Everton 2. 2 lapses of concentration has given Everton their first league victory of the season after West Bromwich Albion dominating much of this game. But they lack cutting edge up front. Leon Osmond showed the home side how to do it, taking his chance from 10 yards out to put the visitors ahead. The home side then poured naively forward, searching for that equaliser, only to allow Yakubu to outmuscle Meite to head the ball over the advancing Scott Carson from Lescott's long ball from his own half. There was consolation near the end when substitute Roman Bednar scored from the penalty spot after Neville had handled, but Bednar had shot horribly wide just before that penalty, which just summed up West Bromwich Albion's disappointing afternoon. Final score, West Bromwich Albion 1, Everton 2.
Relieved Philip Neville. David Moyes doesn't look so pleased about it, but Everton have won away at West Bromwich Albion. Let's hear about the Blackburn-Hull game.
One apiece, Ray, level at the final whistle as it was at the break. Jason Roberts for Blackburn, Richard Garcia for Hull with the goals. The promoted side showed once again they can compete at the top level. Blackburn did have chances in the second period. Roberts and Santa Cruz both went close, but Hull, cheered on by their noisy travelling support, refused to lie down and take their first away point in top-flight football.
6 for Hull City to St James's Park. Newcastle drew at Old Trafford last Sunday. They have a victory this afternoon. Guess who scored the winning goal? Let's hear from Damien Johnson.
Yes, a goal-scoring return for Newcastle captain Michael Owen, a second-half replacement for Obafemi Martins. He ghosted between defenders to head in Jeremy's cross. A timely return for both Newcastle and England. Earlier, Newcastle keeper Shay Given brilliantly denied Kevin Nolan from the penalty spot after Stephen Taylor had handled. Defences were always on top, really. Chances were few. Newcastle's Danny Guthrie impressed running midfield against his former club. Milner was off target with a header, and Nolan squandered a clear chance to equalise. In acres of space, he headed Muamba's cross wide, and Taylor cleared Nolan's really late volley off the line. Newcastle's encouraging start to the season continues, Ray.
And a signal for England manager Fabio Capello. Let's go to Anfield. Liverpool against Middlesbrough, and Liverpool really had to work for this, didn't they, Ivan Gaskell?
They certainly did, and they left it awfully late. Liverpool 2, Middlesbrough 1. Middlesbrough haven't won here in 32 years, but when Mido rose from the Borough bench to drive home sweetly and stick his side into the lead, their efforts deserved. With 20 minutes left, it looked like that regrettable sequence might end. Another, that of Ferdinand Torres, who scored in Liverpool's last league games, 8 of them in a row. Did end here, though. Instead, it was left to Carragher driving in off Pogatetz. And then, with 4 minutes of added time gone, well, as he has so often, Steven Gerrard, with a fabulous winner, with virtually the last kick, wrapped it up and rescued his team. Liverpool 2, Middlesbrough 1.
It's been quite an afternoon. All today's results are just about in. Tim Gudgeon will confirm the final scores.
Starting as per usual with Barclays Premier League. Blackburn Rovers 1, Hull City 1. Fulham and Arsenal have an evening kick-off, about a quarter of an hour. Liverpool 2, Middlesbrough 1. Newcastle United 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. Stoke City 3, Aston Villa 2. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Sunderland 2. West Bromwich Albion 1, Everton 2. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Birmingham City 2, Barnsley 0. Blackpool 1, Sheffield United 3. Cardiff City 2, Norwich City 2. Charlton Athletic 4, Reading 2. Coventry City 0, Bristol City 3. Crystal Palace 0, Burnley 0. Derby County 0, Southampton 1. Ipswich Town 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. Nottingham Forest 3, Watford 2. Plymouth Argyle, Swansea City have an evening kick-off. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Doncaster Rovers 0. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Preston North End 1. In the Coca-Cola League 1, Bristol Rovers 6, Hereford United 1. Crewe Alexandra 2, Walsall 1. Hartlepool United 0, Stockport County 1. Huddersfield Town 1, Milton Keynes Dons 3. Leicester City 3, Tranmere Rovers 1. Leyton Orient 0, Carlisle United 0. Northampton Town 0, Millwall 0. Oldham Athletic 4, Cheltenham Town 0. Scunthorpe United 1, Peterborough United 0. Swindon Town 1, Colchester United 3. Yeovil Town 1, Leeds United 1. League 2, Accrington Stanley 2, Macclesfield Town 0. Barnet 0, Brentford 1. Bournemouth 0, Exeter City 1. Bradford City 2, Rochdale 0. Bury 2, Morecambe 1. Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Port Vale 1. Darlington 1, Gillingham 2. Grimsby Town 0, Chesterfield 1. Luton Town 1, Notts County 1. Rotherham United 3, Chester City 1. Shrewsbury Town 1, Aldershot Town 0. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Lincoln City 0. In the Blue Square Premier, Barrow 2, Mansfield Town 1. Crawley Town 3, Torquay United 1. Eastbourne 0, Cambridge United 3. Ebbsfleet United 4, Stevenage Borough 0. Histon 4, Burton Albion 3. Kettering 1, Ruston and Diamonds 1. Kidderminster Harriers 4, Altrincham 0. Northwich Victoria 2, York City 2. Salisbury 1, Grays Athletic 0. Weymouth 2, Lewis 0 is the latest score. Woking 0, Forest Green Rovers 1. Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Aberdeen 1, Rangers 1. Celtic 3, Falkirk 0. Hearts 2, St Mirren 1. Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1, Hibernian 1. Kilmarnock 1, Hamilton Academical 0. Motherwell 1, Dundee United 1. Owenbury Scottish Division 1, Dundee 1, Greenock Morton 0. Dunfermline Athletic 0, Airdrie United 0. Livingston 2, Clyde 1. Partick Thistle 4, St Johnstone 0. Scottish Div 2, Arbroath 0, East Fife 1. Peterhead 1, Alloa Athletic 0. Queen's Park 1, Brechin City 1. Wraith Rovers 2, Stranraer 1. Stirling Albion 2, Ayr United 2. And Scottish Div 3, Albion Rovers 2, Berwick Rangers 0. Dumbarton 1, Stenhousemuir 2. East Stirlingshire 0, Forfar Athletic 3. Elgin City 0, Cowdenbeath 2. Montrose 1, Annan Athletic 1. In the Welsh Premier, Aberystwyth Town 1, Port Talbot Town 1. Carnarvon Town 0, Frill 1. Gap Connors Quay 5, Neath 0. Llanelli 3, Cursus 0. Newtown 0, Airbus UK Broughton 1. Portmarnock 0, Bangor City 6. Prestatyn Town 2, Welshpool Town 2. And the JGB Sports Premiership, Ballymena United 1, Cliftonville 5. Bangor 3, Institute 2. Coleraine 1, Dungannon Swifts 0. Crusaders 2, Glenavon 0. Linfield 1, Newry City 0. Lisburn Distillery 1, Glentoran 1.
Kick-off in the Blue Square Premier League. And it's a later score, Weymouth 2, Lewis 0. That match didn't kick off till around about 3:20. Here's the tables as they stand early on in this season. And in the Barclays Premier League, Liverpool lead the table for the first time in almost a year. They're the only side with the maximum points from 2 games played. Third placed Hull City remain unbeaten with their first ever away point in the top flight. West Bromwich Albion and Tottenham have both lost their opening 2 games. Stoke City 13th with their first win in the top division for 23 years. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Birmingham City, the only side with maximum points after 3 games played. The Blues aren't hanging around as they seek an immediate return to the top flight. Neighbours Wolves had a group of 3 unbeaten sides on 7 points, which includes Bristol City and Preston. Barnsley's defeat at Birmingham leaves them without a point after 3 games. Burnley avoided defeat for the first time this season, but none of the bottom 7 have managed a win so far. Coca-Cola League One, Oldham Athletic lead the way with a 100% record. 3 wins from 3 games, followed by Leicester City, Carlisle United and Brighton and Hove Albion, all with 7 points. And at the bottom, still looking for their first point, promoted Hereford United, Huddersfield Town on 2, Millwall on 2 and Cheltenham, Tranmere Rovers, Swindon, Crewe Alexander, Scunthorpe, Hartlepool and Peterborough United all have 3 points so far this season. Situation in Coca-Cola League 2. 3 teams have their 100% records intact. Shrewsbury nudging ahead of Bradford and Bury by virtue of a marginally better goal difference. Dagenham and Redbridge dropped points for the first time this season. Bottom 3 all on minus points, of course, because of their points deduction for financial affairs. Luton and Bournemouth remain in dire straits after failing to win today. 3 wins out of 3 for Rotherham as they continue to make inroads into their 17-point deduction. 4 clubs have yet to avoid defeat this season. Early days in the Blue Square Premier League. Cambridge United with 12 points from their 4 games, followed by Barrow, Salisbury, Rushden and Diamonds and York City. Wrexham, relegated at the end of last season, have made a decent start, 6th place, one of numerous clubs, several clubs on 7 points. Woking looking for their first point of the season. Stevenage, Borough, Lewis still have 1 single point so far. Northwich Victoria went 19 games without a win last season. At least they have 2 points so far in this campaign. Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, defending champion Celtic, the new leaders. Rangers dropped their first point of the season at Aberdeen, with Kilmarnock keeping pace with the old firm. Falkirk remain rooted to the foot of the table without a point. 3 other clubs have yet to win. Let's turn our attention back to the Barclays Premier League. There's a summary of what happened in today's 6 3:00 kickoffs. Debutant DBL Cisse is white hot at White Hart Lane to help Sunderland earn their spurs. Roy Keane's side had the 2nd worst away record in the league last season, but Kieran Richardson and Cisse inflict their 2nd defeat on Tottenham. The Potters crack it in their first home game in the Premier League. Mabadi Sidibe's stoppage time goal raises the roof and sees off an Aston Villa side that had twice come from behind to equalise. Local lads Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard with a winner in the 94th minute and rescued Liverpool after they trailed at home to Middlesbrough. Michael Owen hits his first goal of the season from the bench as Bolton pay the penalty for Kevin Nolan's penalty miss. Newcastle's 1,000th post-war league win. Premier League ever-present Everton overcome an unlucky West Bromwich Albion side. Leon Osman and Yakubu gave Everton their first win of the season. Richard Garcia's equaliser for Hull makes Blackburn manager Ince wince. Both sides, though, remain unbeaten. And highlights of all those games can be seen in tonight's Match of the Day, 10:30 start on BBC One, plus the Fulham-Arsenal game that's still to be played. And tomorrow's Match of the Day 2 will feature the Manchester City versus West Ham match. Wigan play Chelsea, and there's a full review of today's games. Stoke fans might be interested that manager Tony Pulis will be one of the studio guests. 10:30 for Match of the Day 2 on BBC 2. So, what an afternoon. I don't know where to start, Garth, really, but I think you're a former Stoke player. We should say congratulations to one of your former clubs on their first victory in the top flight at home for 23 years, 85 when you were in the top division.
I don't think anybody outside of the Potteries really think that Stoke will stay up this season. When you look at what Derby, how difficult it was for Derby last season, I think they lost the first 3 games and then drew the next 2. For Stoke to get 3 points and only their second game was a big plus for them. Hull did very well at Blackburn. They got a point there, got 4 points. It's massive. And at 2-2, they could have come away with a point, maybe no points at all, because as poorly as Villa played, they were a dangerous opposition.
Paul, as a former Premier League referee, I'm keen to get your observations on the Respect campaign last week and whether you saw any evidence today that, yet again, it's working.
Well, I think it is working. We saw a clip of Mike Dean talking to Ledley King at half-time regarding Jermaine Genius's behaviour. He was expecting that to improve in the second half. He pointed out 1 or 2 things that had gone on in the first half, and by all accounts, that went very well. The games I've seen there, that it looks like the players and the referees are working well together.
So far, so good. Liverpool left it late, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a good performance by Middlesbrough. I mean, they could have quite easily won the game. Liverpool got back into it late on with a wickedly deflected goal from Jamie Carragher. In the last 5-10 minutes, they really took the game to Middlesbrough and they were hanging on. And Stevie Gerrard, that man again, popped up on the spot with a terrific strike and got him the 3 points.
2 defeats for Tottenham. Dimitar Berbatov not involved. Strongly worded statement on the Spurs website from Wanda Ramos saying he wasn't mentally right for this. How is this situation going to be resolved?
Well, 2 big issues now for Tottenham. 1, what they're going to do with Berbatov, and 2, they've got no points on the board.
What should they do with Berbatov?
A team, sell him. If he doesn't want to play for the club, sell him. It's very simple. Now, if they were talking about how much they're going to get for him, they're going to have to come to some sort of arrangement quickly with one of the two teams that want to buy him. Now, whether you're going to get 30, 25, 22, whatever, settle it quickly so you can get on with playing football.
This is brinkmanship. Sir Alex Ferguson wants to try and drive the price down. Spurs want to hang on for as much as they can.
Yeah, but obviously the relationship between Ramos and Berbatov has got a lot worse during this week. I think Berbatov himself will have been putting the pressure on. He wants to leave. Manchester United are desperate for him. I think the business has got to be done.
We had a 25-year-old referee making his debut today. We talk about players a lot. How did Stuart Atwell perform at Ewood Park?
For a young man who came through the ranks very, very quickly, he's a product of the development system that we've got going now. He came off smiling and he can be very, very pleased with the way it went for himself.
We should also mention Michael Owen. After England's depressing performance in midweek, comes off the bench and just tells everyone that wants to watch or listen, I'm still around.
Well, Newcastle will be rocking tonight. Owen's back. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, Newcastle have started well.
They started very, very well. What point at Man United? 4 points. Owen back scoring. They're back in business.
Well, that's nearly it football-wise here on BBC One. But a full roundup of Olympic action is on the way at 5:30. And highlights of the Olympic men's football tournament final between Argentina and Nigeria will be on BBC 3 at 7 o'clock. To follow the progress of next Saturday's football matches, score kicks off at 2:30. Our football service is available via the red button or the BBC Sport website. Then it's final score here on BBC One at 4:30 via one platform or another. Final score runs through till 6 o'clock. And via the red button or online, reaction to and discussion on today's football results will continue from now till 6 o'clock. We'll hear from the managers and players who, as we speak, are emerging from their dressing rooms. But it's time now to say goodbye to BBC One viewers. From the final score team, it's bye for now.